I'm Joey Novick, and you're listening to New Jersey Wet Exit, Punchlines in Politics. We have an excellent show. I have to say this is one of really outstanding crews that I've had here. So I have to say I just want to thank you very much. It's been a very busy week. We have, Donald Trump, who is the presumed candidate for the Republican Party. We have Donald Trump announcing that Chris Christie would be his transition chairperson should he get elected president, which is, I guess, another reason for Christie leaving New Jersey. But first, before we introduce the rest of our panel, I want to introduce somebody who has been a good friend of New Jersey for, I guess, you mentioned off the air, 39 years you've been in the Assembly.
39 years in the legislature.
In this 39 years in the legislature, and how many? And Ray Lesniak, Senator Ray Lesniak, and we can applaud.
Hey,
Ray Lesniak. You just celebrated your 70th
70th birthday, and 70 is the new 40.
That's what I know. I've heard that. Okay.
The new 40.
And 60, I guess, would be the new 30. Then I'm not sure. I'm 60 myself. So I want to start out by paying tribute to you for two things that I talked to you off the air. Two things that you've done for New Jersey that were personal issues for me that I think are outstanding. One is the abolition of the death penalty in the state of New Jersey, and the other one, of course, is marriage equality. So I just want to thank you for both of those.
Well, thank you. And we're coming up on the 10th anniversary. We were the first state in over 40 years to abolish the death penalty.
Wow.
Since then, 5 or 6 states have followed our lead. And every time that a state or a nation abolishes the death penalty, they light up the Colosseum in Rome.
Wow.
So it was quite an occasion. And on marriage equality, the incredible thing about that is when we first put it up for vote, it got 14 votes.
Wow.
13 Democrats out of 23 Democrats and 1 Republican. And now, just a few years later, it's the law of the land across the nation. And nobody even, it's like, what's new? So what else is new?
And the thing about that, the thing is so interesting. I have an 8-year-old nephew, and I am so glad that he will be growing up in a world where marriage equality is second nature, where the second or third African-American president will be second nature, and he'll look back and say, well, gee, what was the big deal back then?
Well, we still have a long way to go on a lot of rights. Indeed, there are 12 member nations of the General Assembly of the United Nations that have the death penalty either just for being gay or for gay acts. The death penalty, and they are members. So we still have a long way to go on a lot of these rights, but certainly we're making progress. Martin Luther King said, "The arc of the moral universe turns slowly,
right,
but it always turns towards justice."
I know bends, and I remember seeing that at the Martin Luther King, that it bends towards justice, which is a wonderful thing. And the thing that I find most inspirational that I also mentioned off the air is that you've been at the center of New Jersey politics through many governors. I mean, you've been there through, I guess 5.
Brendan Byrne was my first.
Brendan Byrne, and he's 90. I mean, he's like 95 himself now. I mean,
and speaking of jokesters, he's one of the best.
Oh, one of the greatest. I always loved.
My favorite Brendan Byrne joke is he talks about how when he was in the Army, he was in the Italian.
Right.
Area there, and he mentions how they gave the soldiers saltpeter to keep them away from the Italian women.
Right.
And then he goes on and says, "I think it's starting to work."
The one of his that I also love, he says, "I knew I was no longer governor when I'd be sitting in the back of a limo for 2 or 3 hours, and I get out and I was in the same place because there was no driver." So a great, absolutely wonderful.
In my mind, Governor Byrne and Governor Kane were the 2 best governors I served under.
And I have to say, you also have been talking about the arc of justice, the arc of your career in the New Jersey legislature speaks well in terms of almost just always being on the right side of those issues.
Well, thank you. I was on the curve early on the environment.
Right.
I passed all of the environmental protection laws in this state that has made New Jersey the most progressive state in the nation for environmental protection.
And that's something to be proud of. A lot of people tend to make fun of New Jersey. You'll hear, I'll watch Letterman, other late night, Jon Stewart, Bill Maher. Bill Maher is from New Jersey, and yet they all will make New Jersey jokes. And the thing that I love about New Jersey is we are a state politically that has been ahead of the curve on a lot of things,
Exactly.
like the death penalty, marriage equality,
And right now, on animal protection,
Right.
my
I know that's been your
legislation
issue.
banned ivory
Right.
to protect
Yes, sir.
elephants from being extinct, and we are now banning trophies of
I saw that.
of lions and tigers. It's a terrible thing that people get
horrible.
their thrills out of knocking off a lion or a tiger just for fun, and as a result, they're threatened and they're vulnerable and endangered.
And
So
that
we're going to
should-
stop it.
Yep.
They're not going to be coming into New Jersey with them.
So one of the things that we have to do is not only do that on the state level, but also lobby our members of Congress.
Absolutely.
To do that. And so you have been both in the majority and the minority.
I have.
And I would imagine, which is more fun for you?
What do you
would say?
think?
Which one?
The side that's winning.
The side that's winning absolutely is much more fun to be in the majority.
Well, there was one woman singer, forget her name, but she said, honey, I've been poor and I've been rich. And let me know. Let me let you know. Rich is a hell of a lot better.
Which is definitely a hell of a lot better. Which I am very glad that the Democrats have been in the majority for this length of time, and certainly working with this governor. I mean, there's been no love lost between you and
No, there is not.
between you and Christie, because I think he has been, and as seen by his drop in poll numbers. I mean, going from, I think at one point he was actually in the 60s,
High 60s.
high 60s, and now he's like in the middle to low 20s.
26, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Simply amazing, and he.
Well, it comes from his neglect of the state. I think that's the biggest problem, that he just doesn't seem to care, nor he doesn't. And he was out all the time, first campaigning for president, and then right away, boom, back in for Trump.
Yeah.
And people just resent the fact that they elected him. I didn't vote for him. They elected him, and he's not paying attention to the jobs that's needed here in the state.
And to me, I know that when Florio was governor, he took it, on his backside because of taxes. I know that other governors have had an issue or two that have dropped in poll numbers, but he is just across the board
Correct.
disliked, not only because of his not paying attention to the state, but just, his whole attitude. Even when he was popular, his whole attitude of getting things done. I was listening to 101.5 a while ago, and they were talking about, Christie's attitude. But this is New Jersey. It's a New Jersey attitude. And this older gentleman called up and said, well, he doesn't have to mistreat people. Like, you never heard Martin Luther King saying things like, hey, listen, pal, you better have a dream.
Unfortunately, he fits right in with the Trump
Yes, he does.
dialogue.
And who would have ever thought that Donald Trump would out Christie, of all the things coming on? Anyway, Senator, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great. Great having you on the show. I want to introduce the rest of our panel. I'm going to go to Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker. You've had more than 100 days in the Assembly. Thank you for joining us again.
Pleasure to be here.
And we have, we can give a nice little applause. Thank you for having us. Also, the director, the educational director of the Princeton Plasma Physics Lab. I don't want to show off of how much I know about that, so we won't talk about that during the show.
We could talk politics, comedy, or physics.
Or
your choice.
physics, we can.
Yeah, it's my top subject,
And
physics.
then, and we have
At least lots of
everybody's, what was it? What's your slogan? Everybody's favorite comedian, everybody's all
Everybody's all American. The man, the myth, the legend. Mike Bonner.
Mike has been doing stand-up
Smooth
comedy.
voice, too.
And I just found out that you know a very good friend of mine and were inspired to do stand-up comedy because of Joe Matarese.
Joe Matarese from Cherry Hill, yes, sir.
Joe Matarese, another guy get on the show. I've reached out to him. Joe Matarese, outstanding comedian from Letterman, HBO, Comedy Central. Very, very. He was your instructor.
Yeah, to get started. I started very
Great.
late.
Yeah,
into my 50s. Who starts in their 50s? And Joe said, "Let's go."
Let's go. You know what, man? Whenever you get started, that's the experience that you have. So
Right.
It's great. Thank you. And also, with joining us, I just worked with her last Friday evening at Mike's Club. As a matter of fact, Randy Simon Lupo, very, very funny. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. And so I want to jump right into I guess we've started off with this each and every week because it just changes, which is Donald Trump, the presidential race. Will New Jersey be relevant? And our primary, for those of you who are listening, you can still register to vote by May 17th and vote in the New Jersey primary for the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders. And on the Republican side, everyone's dropped out except Donald Trump. It looks like Trump is going to be the nominee.
By default.
So where do we go? I mean, Donald Trump, I don't know what to say other than I cannot believe that these are the guys that used to be in the Republican Party sitting on the back row with tinfoil hats, and now they've become the candidates, which is just amazing to me.
So what do you think their popularity is? Sullivan, Senator? Then with Trump, is it
Sure.
everybody's fed up with everything?
I was Democratic state chair, so I should know a little bit about politics. James Carville and David Plouffe, President Obama's political consultant, and Bill Clinton's worked for me when I was Democratic state
that's
chair.
right, sure.
So hopefully I learned a little bit from them, and they learned a little bit from me. This is just incredible for me. First of all, it's no doubt that both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump have a lot in common in terms of their appeal, and that is that they are obviously very authentic. Trump is authentically crazy, but authentic trumps everything, because people are just fed up with politics. Assemblyman, they're fed up with all of us. Not you and me, not you and me.
You guys are still there. I mean, you guys.
But they're fed up, and they just want to hear it straight. So Trump is giving it to them straight, so it doesn't matter what he says. He said it himself. I could shoot somebody in the streets of New York, and people will still vote for me. And it's true. He just vilified Elizabeth Warren yesterday. He said the most nasty things about women anyone could possibly imagine, and people don't care. Let's hope that doesn't last for a long time, because it would be a real tragedy for America if he won.
Yeah, it really scares me, the kind of authenticity he articulates. I mean, the racism, the sexism, making fun of those who are differently abled.
Handicapped?
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing.
How about prisoners of war?
Yeah. I mean, it's astonishing. And that speaks to the fact of why, again, I'm a Democrat. I don't know what your politics are. I'm a lifelong Democrat. But that party that used to be the party of people like, going back,
Lincoln.
From Lincoln to Teddy Roosevelt, even
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, for as much as I did not like his politics, at least had a personality in which he got along with people like Speaker Tip O'Neill to get stuff done. But this guy is just a buffoon.
Right, but Ronald Reagan would never get elected in the current climate that we have right now.
I don't think so.
Much too moderate, right?
No.
And it's not something we would have said when he was president. I also think that what is so troubling, to me at least, is the fact that Donald Trump has tapped into this deep down inherent anger. You talk about anger over politics, but anger over everything.
Everything.
And it leads to a blaming of the other, right? And you pick whatever group that is, except for his group, and
you
it's
always
always
pick
their fault.
Who's below you, not who's above you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
he's an attack. It's very interesting, as we always talk. I mean, comedians always talk about, when you're on stage, sometimes comedy writes itself. When we get on stage and we make fun of Trump, or you make fun of Obama, or you make fun of George W. Bush, there are certain jokes that everyone can.
We were so sad that Ted Cruz dropped out. I'm telling you, all the materials went out the window. There it goes.
I can't use
it's like
that
every
material.
day it was something with
I
him.
know, can't use that material anymore. But, with Trump, it's almost like he's like a little nuclear power plant. Like anything you throw at him, he just seems to absorb, and it doesn't matter.
It's not funny, though.
No.
I think that's the problem, is that it's not funny. His rhetoric is very, very hurtful. It does the country no good. While we may be Democrats, I'm a lifelong Democrat too, but having a strong Republican Party is in the country's best interest.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right? And this is in the country's least interest. So there's nothing funny about what's happening.
I have learned over the course of time. I was a 15-year incumbent on the Flemington Borough Council. For quite a while, I was the only Democrat there, and I had to work with some very, very conservative Republicans. Now, I learned to get things done because there were certain things on the local level, picking up the trash, making sure a pothole was filled, there were no politics involved. I mean, there were good conservative principles. principles, financial principles, but you had to get along with people. I don't think he's a guy that generally wants to get along with people.
I would agree with that.
Well, that's
seems
his
to have his
claim.
own agenda.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
going to be friends with Putin. I'm going to be friends with China. I'm going to be friends with this one. I don't know.
I mean, you guys, do you guys do any material on Trump? I don't know. I've only.
Well, yeah, I was just saying, like on stage, it's like, what the heck is going on? I said, Trump says something outrageous, and everybody goes, instead of saying, oh my God, you hear what he said? Everybody goes, yeah. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's just like incredible.
That's just completely crazy.
He's definitely great entertainment. I mean, my goal in comedy is to become undeniably funny, like Louis C.K., Amy
Right.
Schumer, and Donald Trump.
Yeah, right, just across the board. And it's funny that you mentioned Amy Schumer. When I look at the kind of material that Amy Schumer does, she is also very outrageous. She doesn't wear any filters whatsoever, and that's what I do think of when I think of Donald Trump. And he's representing an entire party, even the party. I mean, Christy Todd Whitman came out. I mean, there's an article that I picked out that I sent around. She wrote an essay talking about how she's not going to back Donald Trump. John Boehner, Paul Ryan, who is the Speaker of the House. I mean, the compromise Speaker of the House, because John Boehner was kicked out, is not even supporting. May not support Donald
Mitt
Trump.
Romney.
Yeah, Mitt Romney across the board.
The Bushes. I'm no fan of the Bushes, but they're certainly making the right decision here.
And I think that this helps him rather than hurts him, because what it does is it makes his pedigree as being the anti-GOP Republican candidate even more solid. I mean, if all these people came over and they started supporting him, they saying, well, he's our guy, he's a Republican. I think that would actually hurt him more with this independent crowd rather than
Well, with the
helping
Bushes,
him.
everybody's still upset the war we got shoved
Right,
into,
exactly.
and he's using that, and it's just like, okay, the Bushes don't support me, but they got 5,000 kids killed. You
Right.
know, it's just that's the way I think everybody views it in the nation. You know, I don't.
Well, I got to
know.
tell you,
Sore spot with me.
As a
Me
person,
too.
yeah, absolutely. As
No
a
need for
person,
war.
as a person who is a Democrat who's lived in the very Republican county of Hunterdon County for a long time and been involved in politics, I've had to deal with their. I've been attacked, by the Republican Party. In fact, I just found a flyer. My very first election, 1994, there was a flyer, and I found this because I'm writing a one-man show about my politics in New Jersey called Comedian Elected to Town Council in New Jersey that was just accepted for the United Solo Festival in New York City. I'll be doing that in November. And one of the things they sent out was a picture of me, like a grayed out, very ugly picture, and it said, just say no-y to Joey. Now, that was the thing. It goes, we don't want his stand-up act on council, tell him to sit down. And I was horrified by this, and I kind of dropped out of the race for 3 or 4 days. And the way your dad will call you up, and my dad calls me up, oh, how's the race going? I'm so glad you're running. And I said, well, I kind of dropped out. You dropped out? I said, well, yeah, they sent an attack piece, and I tell him about the piece, and he said, oh, wow, they attacked you I read the piece to him. He says, oh, Joey Novick is a failed stand-up comedian. That's why they made fun of me because I'm a failed stand-up comedian. And my dad said something that just cracked me up, which he goes, oh, they called you a failed stand-up comedian. Why did you let them see your act? You probably shouldn't have done that. I mean, that was your problem. Why did you know? And I just started laughing, and of course that got me back into it. So, dads are, your dads are just brilliant and stuff like that. But the thing is, with Trump, almost no matter what you say or criticize him with, he just seems to revel in that. I mean, he just seems to enjoy it.
No, I think everybody's tired of political speak. What I'm saying is a half hour to say one thing.
Right.
That you could say in 3 sentences. And I don't know. I think everybody's tired of that. It's just listening to that rhetoric and blah, blah, blah.
And I know Donald Trump. I've played golf with him. He is a known cheater in golf. Everybody knows this.
Don't be playing with me.
Everybody.
Look over there, Senator.
Everyone knows this. And the saying in golf, if you're a golfer, is if you cheat in golf,
you're going to cheat
in everything.
Right.
And I'm just amazed that hasn't come out because everyone knows he cheats in golf.
And the funny thing is, in his house, in Elizabeth. He has this picture up on the mantle of
Bill
himself
Clinton.
with Bill Clinton.
And I beat him.
And he beat him, right?
He signed it.
So the thing is, when he tells you that he played with Donald Trump, he has played with Donald Trump because he's played with Clinton. And so here's a guy that's played with the Clintons and played with Donald Trump. So when the senator speaks the truth.
Yeah,
Wow,
but Senator
you play
Lesniak-
with both parties. That's very nice. You must have went to kindergarten. You know how to play with
Well,
everyone.
who knows what party Trump is? Seriously, who knows whether he's conservative or liberal? Nobody knows. He's all over the place.
I know. I thought he was in the narcissist party.
Yes.
Very
That's a good line.
self-centered.
There you go.
I wrote on Facebook. One of my friends, who's a Republican Tea Party member in Flemington, wrote on Facebook. I put up some story about Trump, and he said, he goes, "Trump, yay! He's going to be our next president." And I said, "Well, we don't really need a narcissistic, egomaniacal demagogue to be our next president." So about an hour later, he said, "I had to look up two of those words in the dictionary."
Also,
Four
one
syllables.
one of his opponents, because he was talking about the Bible, how much he loves the Bible, and one of his opponents said, "I know Donald Trump has never read the Bible." And the reason why I know he's never read the Bible is he's not in it.
He's not.
Here's Moses. Lead us out of the promised land. But what do you shoot, Senator? Anyway, go off subject. What are you shooting golf? Without cheating.
Let's
Without
see.
kicking the ball.
I was a 10. Let me start off with the good part.
Okay.
Then I had double knee replacements.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
There goes that
So
swing.
I haven't gotten back to it. I'm about a 16 now, but I haven't been playing well. But I'm ready to get back and bring it down to single digits.
Excellent.
How's that?
I would. We wait with.
Well,
You could beat me in a
Well,
second.
next time you're back, we'll hopefully get you to. Who else you played with? Who are some of the famous besides besides Bill Clinton and Donald Trump? Who else have you played golf with?
Let me tell you a little bit about Bill Clinton, though.
Sure.
Because he was so amazing when he wanted to play golf with me. He was speaking up north. I had to take him to Baltusrol, which is the most famous golf course in New Jersey. Called up my friend. I said, "You want to play with President Clinton next Wednesday?" He says, "Let me get back to you." It's a true story. He gets back to me and says, "You can't play. It's a members only day."
Oh, damn.
What'd you do?
I took him to my club, Suburban, this nice little club. He had such a great time. I'm so glad. He took pictures with everybody, the waitresses, the
probably had a better time.
groundkeepers. Absolutely.
He probably had a better
He
time.
enjoyed
And the
himself.
president of the former president of the United States
Yes.
doesn't. Boy,
Doesn't
that is
cut it.
that is
Members
one.
only day.
That
That's
is
Baltusrol.
That is one
You don't get
exclusive
members-only
club.
jacket.
That is one exclusive club. You can't get the president of the United States. My God, that's that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So he.
Oh, I played with Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
He's fun to play with.
Oh, I would
No, you would
imagine.
think.
What do you mean? Fun in what way? Fun in what way?
Hey,
Like fun, like a
find me
little guy? Like a fun guy? What do you mean? But, great. I got to tell you, when he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Goodfellas, he made the shortest speech that I thought was fabulous. He got the award, he looked up and he leaned into the microphone and said, "It was my privilege," and then got off the stage. And I thought, that is one classy guy.
And have you seen Jersey Boys?
Yes, of course.
He
yes.
introduced Frankie Valli
Yes. Oh, yeah.
to the Four Seasons.
That is the thing that I love about a guy like Joe Pesci is he's a guy from the streets, he's a guy from New Jersey, ultimately an incredibly talented actor, and he's done comedy, My Cousin Vinny, he appears with, who's
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei wins an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress playing against Joe Pesci. And as an actor, when you're working off somebody, that relationship is so important. So she paid tribute to him when she takes the award. I got to say, that's fantastic.
It
Now,
picks you up.
did you beat Joe Pesci too?
Oh,
Did
I
you-
don't want to say that public.
No, you don't want to say that. Okay. So you beat Bill Clinton. Donald Trump cheats, but I don't want to. It's
gonna be the star
I don't want to say
tomorrow.
anything.
Senator Lesniak.
I don't want to say anything about Joe Pesci. So you can tell where
He's
his
a smart man.
You can
That's a
tell where his
smart,
priorities
smart
are. Why he's
politician.
got elected for the last 39 years
Right?
in the Senate. It's absolutely fantastic. So I look forward to the June 7th primary. Again, if you're listening, you can, and you're not registered to vote. First of all, if you're not registered to vote, I just want to
Shut
slap
up.
you through. I want to slap you through the radio.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday, 17th. You have to register by that point in time, or else you cannot vote in New Jersey. Everybody here registered to
Yes.
vote? Registered to vote? We're all registered to vote.
And let me just add,
Yeah.
if you are registered but unaffiliated, you can walk in the day of the
that's true.
primary
Right.
and declare a party and vote.
I will turn 62 in June, and my first election ever was voting for George McGovern in New York in 1972. I just turned 18, and we lived 2 blocks from the voting from the polls, the school that I went to, and I asked my father for the car to drive to the polls for 2 or 3 blocks. And my father said to me, he goes, I'm not giving you the car to drive, you can walk. And I said, what's the matter? You don't trust me with the car? I said, the government trusts me to be able to vote for president. You don't trust me with the car? And my father said something to me I'll never forget. He said, you know what? The government doesn't know you as well as I do. So I was pretty much, my dad, great storyteller, just an absolute phenomenal impact on my life. I mean, talk about a guy who is all through my elections, my dad told me the very first time, he says, whether you win or lose, you be the first one to call your opponent. If you win, you give him a call and you say, hey, you ran a great race. I want to thank you for a great race. And if you lose, you give him a call, him or her a call first, and congratulate them. And I've done that every single year because I thought, boy, that is just a classy thing to do. Just a complete classy thing to do. So we are coming up.
Good winner, good loser.
Yeah, which is extremely important. So I want to mention another subject. I guess we're going to get to. How are we doing on time? We got about another 2 minutes. I guess we'll. There was one article I thought was very interesting in an opinion column. Is certainly Cory Booker. His name is popped up as a possible running mate for Hillary Clinton. I thought that was a very interesting thing. And also Chris Christie's name is popped up as a possible running mate for Donald Trump. So I'm just thinking this could possibly be a New Jersey-centered race. Again, I don't know what will happen, but that would be certainly interesting if the 2 VP candidates end up on the same stage debating each other during the middle of the election.
Yep, the Gestapo takes the White House.
Okay, right. Basically, it'd be very, very, very scary. I don't know. I mean, other people that I've seen on Hillary's side, what was it? Julian Castro. I've heard his name mentioned. I met Julian Castro a couple of years ago at the, I guess, Democratic National in Charlotte. We had a chance to meet down there, and he's been to New Jersey.
There's being a scientist, there's an interesting analysis that looks at sort of what would be, is there any path for Trump to get to the presidency, right? And what does it look like for Hillary or Bernie on the Democratic side? And what it comes down to is if the Democratic nominee wins Florida, and you look at every state over the last 6 presidential elections, then Trump cannot win. So it would not make any sense for Trump to choose Christie. From a strategy perspective, what he does it's
I
Trump
don't
to do
think
it
Christie brings New Jersey to
bring anything.
him. I don't think it brings
Can't
him
win New
anything.
Jersey.
No, I think there are certain states that I will definitely go Democratic. There's no question in my mind, no matter who. I don't think Trump. And they talk about, Trump is from New Jersey. He's run businesses in New Jersey. I don't think he has.
There's very few states in play. We get back to the beginning.
He's failed businesses in New Jersey.
Well, that's what when I said run business, I meant run into the ground. Run into the ground. Which is great. All right, we will be back. You've been listening to New Jersey What Exit with Senator Ray Lesniak, Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker, the incredible, funny Mike Bonner, and the delightfully funny Randy Simon Lupo. We'll be back in a few minutes after these words from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Ron Gramberg, founder of Clearwater Investment Management, a fee-only and independent registered investment advisory. Clearwater does not sell its own investment products and receives no compensation to recommend any product. Our only incentive is to generate great returns for you. As Clearwater's founder, I have nearly 2 decades of experience, at first as a security analyst, later promoted to portfolio manager overseeing $40 billion, and ultimately became the head of portfolio management at a large financial institution. But Wall Street wasn't right for me, too impersonal. That's why I started my own company. I'm a chartered financial analyst, the most difficult to get and most respected credential on Wall Street. Our minimum is $100,000. Call today and find out about Clearwater's personalized service and institutional quality advice. Consultations are free, and unlike the stodgy Wall Street concerns, I can visit you at your business. Reach out to me at 609-248-6065 or ron@clearwaterinvest.com. I can't wait to make your portfolio the best it can be.
And the sun goes down upon this river town.
Hi, this is Judith Marchand with PANJ Radio. I'd like to invite you to listen to my new show, Musical Notes, where I will be interviewing different musicians at 8 p.m. every night. Tuesday nights I will have a new musician, and then it will air the rest of the week. We'll be finding out what these musicians are all about and listening to some of their music. So tune in. It's going to be a great show on panjradio.com.
And we are back. Maybe I should change the name of the show to And We're Back. And we're back. I'm Joey Novick. You're listening to Politics and Punchlines, New Jersey What Exit. We've got Senator Ray Lesniak. We've got Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker. We've got the incredibly funny Mike Bonner. And we've got the equally incredibly funny Randy Simon Lupo. And, I want to throw in a couple of other topics here that are very important to New Jersey. The New Jersey takeover or the bailout, I guess, of Atlantic City finances. I mean, very important to New Jersey. As a comedian over the years, I have worked in New Jersey at Trump hotels. As a comedian, I've worked at the Borgata. I've worked at the Comedy Stop at the Trop in Atlantic City. So as a performer, I want Atlantic City to survive. I want the hotels and the casinos to survive. And at the same time, so as comedians, this is important to you. As the legislature, New Jersey, certainly Atlantic City, gateway to the rest of the Jersey Shore. And tourism, very important. So what do we do?
Move it.
All right, let's move on.
We have to move
All right,
it
here
up
we go.
north. It has to go up north a little
Here
bit.
we go.
It's too far away.
So 5 years ago, actually now almost 6 years ago, I proposed 2 casinos in North Jersey.
Yeah.
So that because Atlantic City was dying then, I saw it then, and it needed to transform itself.
Yes.
From a casino destination to a tourist destination with casinos.
Absolutely.
That didn't happen. And I also started my quest for sports betting. As a matter of fact, we're waiting.
That's right.
I've been in court many times, back and forth. And
I've seen you do that a couple of times.
Yes, I
Just a
did.
few
My
times.
hero.
Just a few times.
Right? So we're waiting for a decision. That will give a big boost to Atlantic City. But so many years have gone by, and quite frankly, this governor has stayed on the sidelines and let Atlantic City deteriorate month after month after month. So, Assemblyman, it's in your house now. What are you
It's in
going to
my
do
house.
about it?
I mean, and picking up on what the senator said, right? This has been going on for a long time.
Right.
This is not something that came out of nowhere. The state has had someone overseeing the city for 5 years now. Casinos are closing. The revenue is dropping down. Atlantic City has put millions of dollars into the state. The state's put millions of dollars back. I also serve on the Judiciary Committee on the Assembly side,
Okay.
right? So the Assembly bill has worked its way through there. And what's happened now is this enormous fight, which is ignoring the most important part, which is the people that are down there.
Right.
The senator's right. I mean, this is something that should have been started to be attacked years ago.
Right.
And it wasn't. And the governor has let it get to this point. And now we're in a huge fight that ignores the police and the fire and the public works people that are down there.
And I will tell you, as a stand-up comedian, again, I wear the hat as a stand-up comedian, having played in Atlantic City since 1992, maybe 93. I mean, more than 20 years. I've played down there on a regular basis. I have seen that town slip bit by bit by bit,
Yep.
like the story about the boiled frog. Like you raise the temperature of from cold water to hot water, and all of a sudden, then it gets used to it. And I will tell you that, as a performer, what I always thought would be one of the best assets that New Jersey has is the beach, the boardwalk.
Sure.
Bring the family, bring the kids.
But it doesn't have a family atmosphere.
Exactly.
Of course, they never built up the infrastructure in the town. It was just casino, 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 casino. Once you get one block away from the casino, you
It's
didn't want to
nothing.
be there.
You
There was
didn't
no
want to- of
playland,
course.
no golf, no nothing like that.
And,
yeah.
and the sad thing about it is that it could be a beautiful beach. I mean, the beach is one thing that casinos in Connecticut, like I played the Mohegan Sun, I played the Foxwoods. I mean, the structure for the Mohegan Sun is essentially 4 casinos under one roof. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Foxwoods, I've been to.
Foxwoods. It's essentially what the Borgata and what they used to call the other Atlantic City has
Right.
become. Because once you're indoors, you never leave.
Right,
You don't want to. I mean, maybe you go outside, take a little walk, but you don't need the beach because you're all indoors. And here you have this beautiful beach, which is
And the deteriorated boardwalk.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
with the storefronts are just garbage, quite frankly. They are.
And it's a crisis now, but we let it get there.
Exactly.
Right? And in order to force now, in this crisis and this enormous fight, which has nothing to do really about the city or
Right.
the people, and has really become, as back to where we started, right? Which is, why are people fed up? Because we just can't get things done. Because we are, as politicians now, I'm beating ourselves up.
And in my opinion, I think this issue comes to a head at the worst possible time when we're in the middle of a presidential election, we're in the middle of a gubernatorial election in 2017, because everybody's lining up right now. And I hope that something does get done. I certainly hope that something does get done. And you, again, way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Way ahead
5
of the
years
curve,
ago.
5, 6 years ago,
Yeah.
they listened to you. So I'm sorry, Mike, you were going to...
No. I'm just saying that's someone. Zwicker's exactly right. Everybody's fed up, and this is a bad time. Everybody's fed up with politicians and letting Atlantic City go to hell.
And look at sports betting. Why don't we have sports
Exactly.
betting?
You're
can
my
bet
hero.
it-
Let me tell you.
Anyway, I'll be in court. We'll see. We'll get a decision
you
soon.
have been-
I'm fed up with Governor Christie, but I just think he's so hot. I'm such a
This is...
Randy likes them big.
I can understand that. I have. I don't even know what to say to that.
Governor Crush me.
He's a hot
But-
Governor Christie. Yeah.
He is hot.
Yeah, he is.
You
he's
agree, right?
He's a hot guy. I first met. It's really funny. Change the subject. I met Governor Christie. He is a graduate of Seton Hall School of Law, as I am, and we went to. This is before he was the governor. This is when he was still the U.S. attorney. He was a speaker at a Seton Hall Law School alumni event. And because it was a Leadership New Jersey event, because I was on the board and I was sitting at a table up front with now Governor Christie, and I saw him do something that really amazed me. I saw him insult a waiter. He absolutely, now you know what they say, if you're dating someone and they are rude to a waiter, you shouldn't be marrying that person. Now, of course, Christie and I did not get married because of that reason, but
And if you don't
But
want
you
your
could
food,
have because of the senator.
There you go.
But my point is, we were sitting around the table, and the waiter came over and was filling water glasses. And I guess they have a rule that if it's like 3/4 full, they don't fill it up or whatever. So he passed by Christie's glass, and Christie grabs him by the arm and says, "Hey, Nudnik, what am I here? Chopped liver or something?" And he fills up. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Should have poured the pitcher over his head.
Was that before his gastric bypass?
That was before the gastric bypass.
Now I
and
bet
even
he'd
more.
never do that.
That he would never do. But the thing is that made an impression. Maya Angelou once said that you may forget what people say, you may forget what they do, but you will never forget about the way they made you feel. And I felt so badly for this waiter, because the guy was a nice guy. It wasn't like he was being an ass or anything, but I saw him be rude to this waiter. And then, Christie gets up there and does his little speech for 15, 20 minutes. And we all knew that. I mean, this was probably I guess maybe 2006, somewhere around there. I think somewhere around 2005, 2006. And at that point in time, there was some talk about that he may run for governor, in the future, but who knows. But I never forgot that. I never forgot the way he just was so rude to this guy.
Yep. Yeah. And the Democrats on the Assembly side are doing everything possible right now to make him look good as we make ourselves look bad, which is really troubling.
Yeah. I mean, look, I will tell you that I was somewhat disappointed in the pension benefits deal that the Democrats did a few years back.
I voted no.
2011.
Again, stop it. We know you had all the right votes.
Infallible.
I know you had all the right votes. Is there any vote that you have ever regretted? Is there any vote that you?
I wrote about it
Yep.
in the book. I wrote the Road to Abolition,
Yep.
how New Jersey abolished the death penalty. In 1983, I voted to reinstate the death penalty.
There you go. Okay.
And then 20 years later, I led the charge to abolish it.
And why back then did you?
Flip flopper.
Well, you know what? I wrote about that
I'll
then.
tell
No. At that time, I was enmeshed in politics. So I did what was the political thing to do.
Right.
I admit it. I wrote about it.
Oh, wow, that's so honest of you. I give you credit for your honesty.
I did. And
Well, I think sometimes you get frustrated with all the violence going on and the callousness of life.
no, please, thank you very much, but it was pure politics. It was popular to be for the death penalty, and then later on, I learned quite frankly, I had a spiritual awakening,
Right.
and
What kind of spiritual awakening did you have? Did you see Jesus? What did you see?
spiritual,
Spiritual.
So, no. I meditate.
Are you
I
a
read
Buddhist?
a lot. No, I'm not a Buddhist, but I do a lot of meditation. It's great for you. You should try it.
I do it. I do it in. Do you know? I
do it on stage.
I actually got very, very athletic. I'm working on my fitness, and I mountain climb every morning now without equipment in my morning meditation.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
How's that working for you? Losing weight?
I forgot you're a comedian. You just reminded me.
I have apple pie with chocolate every morning in my meditation. So I have.
It's delicious.
Joey Novick workout.
No, but I meditate for 20 minutes. For years I've done transcendental meditation, and I've evolved into doing mindfulness meditation and taking classes at the Omega Institute. I don't know if you're familiar with
In New
the
York?
Omega in Rhinebeck, New York.
I go to the Alpha Institute.
There you go. Boom,
That's why he's been doing what he's been doing for so long.
Hey,
Hey, are you a comedian?
A little bit of everything.
I'm a little bit of everything. I try to get everything,
But
my Jerry Lewis
the
voice.
senator also taps into something, which is, early, right? You said it's because you were being political,
Yes.
because early in career, and you're thinking about what it takes to get reelected,
Yes.
right? Or elected or reelected.
Yep.
So it's kind of interesting because here I'm on day 110, right? Trying to navigate between doing the right thing.
Do the right thing.
I always have so far.
Do the right thing.
Right.
Good for you.
Did you think
Good
it was
for
the
you.
right thing then, or were you just being political
I
to get
didn't
votes?
think.
or-
I didn't even think.
Think
It
about
wasn't-
it.
I didn't even.
This is
think
what we
about
should
it.
do. Boom.
This
Okay.
This is the political thing to do. This is what everybody wants. I had no bearing, no compass, and I learned a lot from that.
And that
needless to
takes
say.
us right back to the beginning, because that's what Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump's persona is, regardless of what they'll do, which is they are, the claim is saying what they mean and not pandering.
That's what I am now. That's what I evolved to
understood.
be.
But tapping into the frustration we were talking about
Absolutely.
before.
And you know
Absolutely.
what's really funny? Look, I am. You can tell who I am. I'm supporting.
We're on the radio, Joey. They can't
I'm a
tell.
Bernie guy.
You have
No,
Bernie
I've
written on
said
your arm.
you can't see this, but I'm a Bernie guy. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and there are 3 or 4 candidates that I have supported in my life where it was like my heart before it was.
Well, it was a
anything else.
giveaway when you said you voted for McGovern.
Yeah, when
Right.
McGovern.
That was a giveaway to a
there
Bernie
you go.
guy.
And the other 2 people that I really felt were my heart was in it rather than just the right candidate. One was Congressman Rush Holt. When he ran the first time, I supported him in the primary when he ran against there was a guy named Carl Mayer who was a councilman in Princeton Borough in Princeton, and I always made the joke, which he didn't think was funny. I said that's why you could never run for mayor, because you would be mayor, and he goes, oh yeah, like I've never heard that before, which is great. But Rush Holt. The next one, quite frankly, was Barack Obama. I mean, the state was very strong for Hillary. I met Barack Obama. I'm talking about that, and the reason it's funny. I was telling the story about
Joey's not name dropping, is
Yeah,
he?
not name dropping.
Not at all. I met
And
everybody.
then the other person,
and
Bruce,
Houdini. What about Houdini?
Bruce
So
Springsteen.
when I was talking to Pope Francis,
And then I had lunch with the Queen
He
of England.
blessed my hamburger.
And you did speak with Pope Francis, because I know he stopped that meeting to call me to see if
So I go.
Appearing next
I
week.
still go to church every now and then.
Yep.
And I was at mass a little while ago, and I was telling the pastor how Pope Francis may bring me back to the church, and he said, he may bring me back too. True.
So
In his
interesting.
fiat. In his fiat.
It's so interesting seeing the Republican candidates who are very right-wing criticize this pope for talking about things like
Climate
poverty
change, right.
and climate change and bringing it, a biblical perspective to some of these issues. I mean, it's very inspirational. I mean, even, as a Jew, I'm thinking, well, that's the pope I can enjoy listening to. I mean, very different. And I'm thinking, how did he become pope? Did
Jews
he,
for pope.
Jews for pope. I mean, well, he does wear that yarmulke.
Find the Pope in the pizza.
He does wear that yarmulke that he comes out. But
I know.
I'm very impressed. What he said about gays and lesbians. I mean, very.
Who am I to judge?
Yeah,
He's
Right.
very
Right.
progressive.
Exactly.
He's a progressive pope.
But he's following, the way the Bible was written. You could read very much of the progressive points of view on issues. I'm sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
no, I was brought up in Catholic school. I was tortured by nuns. I still have the scars.
Yeah, there you go.
But, I think it's more compassionate. It isn't as hard. I think that's what drove everybody away from the Catholic religion, this hardline stance and
Right.
blah, 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 of homosexuality and all this stuff. And it's just like, like I said, that pretty much like I am. Who am I to judge? It's let everybody live their life and do it,
Yeah, and it's interesting being raised in a Jewish household. My parents were essentially non-practicing Jews. They raised me that same way. I mean, in Judaism, there's this. And in fact, I have it on the wall in my office because my mother bought me this. It says, justice, just as ye shall pursue. And, that's a directive from God to go out and do good in the world. Go out and every day do something good for someone else in the world. And I try to live my life that way as an elected official. It's not always easy to do, but you try to do the best thing.
In other words, life's too short, don't be a jerk.
Exactly. Well, that's probably would have probably gotten a better reading in the Bible than justice.
I know. They would love to see that. Moses on the ninth commandment.
Hey, Moses, I don't. Did you?
I have 15 commandments.
Where'd you get the other 5?
He was
one of the best
referring to
scenes ever.
the Mel Brooks movie where he goes,
Oh, my goodness.
these 15, these 10 commandments. Oh my God, Mel Brooks. I could probably spend an hour talking about seeing Mel Brooks in person. What a funny guy.
I was going to jump in and say, I also grew up in a secular Jewish household. So
Yeah.
on the assembly side, when you're sworn in, the first time you get to have an individual swearing in.
Right.
After that, there's too many, so it's a group
Right.
swearing in. So I want to honor both my science side and my new legislative side. So I got a copy of Sir Isaac Newton's Principia from 1803.
Okay.
And I tucked inside it the New Jersey Constitution, the United States Constitution, and the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights.
Boy, you were covering everybody
And
there.
I did, but it was for me, it was a beautiful way to sort of
Sure.
honor both sides.
So
I-
you've been doing this, 4 months?
4 months.
4
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
You got 25 bills you sponsored, is it?
48.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow, I have all of your bills in my list.
I got a few of mine, PSE and G you have.
I'm right on that.
I have. So you're wearing his. I think that's very funny. You have all the bills in his mezuzah. What are some? I'm just curious. What are some things that you're working on that you've? What bills have you put in that?
What are you proudest of?
What are you proudest of?
So, oops, sorry.
Over here. We're over here.
Over here.
Assemblyman, over here.
So one that I jumped onto, I did not write, but is sort of with the senator as well, is the Pay Equity Act.
Right, of course.
Right? Which,
Yes.
Which the governor
has already vetoed.
vetoed.
Right. And we
disgusting.
talked about the death penalty. You talked
Well,
about.
Trump said, women have it better off than men, right? Isn't that? Yeah, he said that yesterday. Women have it, even though.
And why?
Donald Trump said women have it better off than men.
And the nation went, yeah.
And he gets away with this stuff.
It's amazing.
And we don't have pay equity. Not even close.
Yeah, what is he basing that off of?
He doesn't
His
have to
wives.
base
Payroll.
anything.
His wives.
She's got it better. She doesn't do anything.
His ex-wives all have it better than me. They're each getting a couple of bucks.
So, Senator Lesniak, how many bills did you sponsor in your glorious career? You're my guy, I'm telling you.
I can
love
remember
everything you
39
do.
years ago. But I did cut my eye teeth, so to speak, on the environment. There was this place called Chemical Control in Elizabeth. It had hazardous containers piled on drums.
Yes.
And it exploded one day.
Wow.
Yes.
And a
They
toxic
were shooting
plume went
in
into Staten Island, 1 block from where I lived. Toxic plume into Staten Island, Lower Manhattan.
Wow.
I wound up putting a surtax on the petrochemical industry to clean up these sites. And then they said they were preempted by the federal Superfund. I sued Exxon way back then, and I beat them, and I'm beating them now. I plan on beating them now.
You need to beat them.
Boy, do they need to get beat. In any event, so I lived it right then and there, and passed all in my neighborhood in Elizabeth. You could not. What's my exit? 13.
Right.
Yep.
You could not drive past exit 13 with your windows down.
No, I used to drive every day up to
was that
ADP, Senator Lundberg's
bad.
old
Yep.
firm, and every time I'd hold my breath right
There you
through
go.
it, 'cause there's something
Exactly.
bad coming in my windows.
Exactly. I remember that when I lived in New York City, we used to visit a relative. My dad would get lost and drive, would always get lost on the New Jersey Turnpike and be on the wrong
Oh,
lane.
I thought that was only my father.
Yeah, it was only your father. I think we were following your family.
And my
of course.
father refused to ask for
My
directions.
father.
Oh yeah, don't all fathers?
Oh,
Mine was
completely.
the way.
I remember my dad, we were visiting now. I had an aunt that lived in Staten Island. He missed 3 exits in Staten Island. We actually went over the Bayonne Bridge into New Jersey. And of course, my mother didn't drive, and we were 3 boys in the back. And we say, Dad, did we go over a second bridge? My father's going, no, we're going to get there soon. We're just driving. And I was trying to find a turnaround to go back into Staten Island. I'll never forget that. But driving through Elizabeth, and I remember just...
So you did ask, what my what bills I have sponsored. I'm most proud of. So the 2 bills I sponsored, both the surcharge and also the Environmental Cleanup Responsibility Act, that requires companies to clean up their sites before they close down or sell, or post a bond. Those 2 bills have cleaned up tens of thousands of contaminated sites
And-
in New
Yeah,
Jersey.
because they just spoil it and split.
And when I was sponsoring these bills, the business community, the bankers, the developers, you're going to kill the economy. You're going to kill it because you're going to shut it down. Actually, the economy would have been dead if we had all these contaminated sites
Right.
that weren't cleaned up.
And the cool thing about it is, I know you mentioned kindergarten before, but one of the rules in kindergarten is, when you're done doing something, clean it up. And
Tell it to
taking,
my kids.
and taking, but
My
that's the really
grandkids.
funny thing. Taking that thing, if the Supreme Court under Citizens United wants corporations to be people, well, here's it. You want to be a good corporate person. If you make a mess, clean it up.
There you go.
Simply put, requires, and imagine we need a law for that. Okay, they should be doing this on their own. I want to thank you for those. That's again a phenomenal record.
I had no choice. I lived in Elizabeth. I had to do something about it.
Ray, do something about that.
So Selena was.
So was it
can
something
clean
you
this
ate?
up? And which is
Always
which is
blame the
fantastic.
dog. It's always the dog who farted.
I can see your.
That's what we're going to drop on ice is dog farts.
I
It would
can
kill 'em all.
I can see you're hearing for your bill, Senator. It was the dogs in Elizabeth. You're making that, and
found
it's
out it
not
was the
our
dogs.
factory. Hundreds of dogs have been farting simultaneously, and that is what it is. That's what we have, Senator.
They are deadly, though.
Completely. They are. We've kind of gone from Trump to dog farts.
Dog farts,
It doesn't
that's
seem
right.
like
Progressive.
we've gone too far away between the two. I want to bring up one other thing, which is this irked me particularly. Just it got me. So I was looking for topics to talk about. And this was actually the last one that popped up, which we don't usually get to. But I figured maybe the last couple of minutes here on the show. Great concerts coming to New Jersey. Absolutely. You want to see outdoor concerts. You want to see indoor concerts. Of course, Bruce will be in New Jersey twice, rocking out the house. If you've never seen him live.
But not in North Carolina.
Not in North
No,
Carolina,
not North Carolina.
but he's playing in
No.
New Jersey. Dolly Parton is going to be here, the Dixie Chicks. But the prices of these concerts are absolutely outrageous.
They got to feed their kids.
You know,
Lawn seats. That's what I say. Lawn seats.
I'm amazed the number of, between $150 and $300 for some of these concerts. Who can afford to go to a concert like that?
People go, right?
Yeah, they do, I guess. I'm just.
They're just trying to keep the riffraff out. That's all.
I guess they're keeping me out.
Me
there
out, so I'm out of that.
But that's just
That's what I was talking about.
amazing for the prices. It was the same thing. I'm a kind of a low key guy. I like to go to outdoor concerts. We go to a lot of outdoor concerts for free, which New Jersey has a lot of. And the other thing I go to a lot is minor league baseball games. Another excellent resource that New Jersey has. All this like 6 or 7 minor league teams that New Jersey has.
What I was going to say, wasn't there also an attempt to stop robots? There's some legislative things to stop robots, ticket buying robots, not. Right?
yeah, bot. I have that bill.
Sure,
So of
there
course you
were.
do, right? What don't you have at this point?
Oh, is that-
And unicorns too.
Unicorns.
He has that bill. No unicorn.
I thought you meant the
No
robot that
unicorns in the
vacuums.
lobby bill.
No,
Sponsored by Senator
least
Ray
try right.
Lesniak.
What was
But
this?
no, you're right. Bot technology, and I have not been able to get it out of the Senate Commerce Committee.
Right.
These brokers use this technology. They get all.
You buy 'em all.
They buy them all,
Yeah.
and then they go online and they sell them for.
So they use technology to buy tickets
Buy all
online
tickets.
before
That's-
humans.
You sell them on
humans.
StubHub or wherever else, right?
So
That's
then
what
I have to go on Snub.
How'd they get these
StubHub.
tickets?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we are heading down. We've got believe it or not, we've got 1 minute left. I just want to thank everybody for coming out here today. Just working back. Randy, where are you going to be this weekend? You want to plug any shows that you're going to be?
I'm going to be in Nutley, New Jersey at Pat's Place with Mike Bonner.
With Mike Bonner this coming Saturday.
This coming
Great. So
Saturday.
come and see. And Mike.
I'll be in Oak Barrel in West Orange, and
Great.
then Randy's show Saturday, and my own show at the Station Bar and Grill in Cranberry. every
and that's
Friday.
a great show. I had a great time.
Thank you.
Andrew,
I'll be in the New Jersey General Assembly trying to do
okay.
good for the state.
Trying to do good for the state.
There we go. And I will be with the Assemblyman at the Rutgers 250th commencement with President Obama.
That is fantastic.
sir.
I want to wish, I want to thank everybody for being part of our show. You have been listening to New Jersey What Exit with Senator Ray Lesniak, Andrew Zwicker, Mike Bonner, and the incredibly talented and beautiful Randy Simon-Lupo. My name is Joey Novick. We will be back next week with another show, and you can listen to this all week on WPANJ.com. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to register to vote if you have not registered to vote yet.
Vote, everybody.
Yep.
Vote early, vote often.